Hi everyone, welcome back to Yellow Cottage Soapery. Today I'm going to show you how to make a beer soap using some beer. This is frozen, and I will use mostly that and maybe a little bit of distilled water, and then I will measure out my lye and I will add it slowly to this. What I did is I boiled 3 Yuengling beers. This is nice and cold, maybe I'll drink it. Maybe later. I'm not really a beer drinker, but it kind of looks good. Alright, so what I did is I boiled 3 of those for about an hour. I got it up to a boil and then I let it simmer. And then I put it just into a container and let it sit out. I figured I'd make it in a few days. Well, I kept coming over and sticking my stick blender in it and mixing it up, and I could see tons of bubbles and carbonation still. So I didn't dare, freeze it yet because I'm afraid it still has, that it didn't go flat. You want your beer to be flat because if it's not and you add lye to it, it's going to volcano everywhere. Don't ask me how I know that it was a horrible mess. And so the first thing I'm going to do, I know that I'm going to need 8.4 ounces of lye. Don't mind my scale, it's kind of dirty, but it's just used a lot. It's not dirty, it's clean. It looks dirty. Okay, so 8.4 ounces. I'm just going to measure this out so I have this ready to go. I'm using my Skinny Diamond mold from Be Scented, and I will show you what my plan is. I am hoping okay, there's my lye. So I'm going to set this aside for right now. Remember, you're working with lye, you have goggles, you have gloves. I should have long sleeves, but I always get so hot when I'm soaping that I can't wear long sleeves. So the first thing I want to do is, look at the color, first of all, of these, of how they turned out. They're almost like a swirly orange brown color, which is really cool because the fragrance I'm using is called Harvest Ale Supplies Plus, and I'll just show you a picture of it. Hopefully you can see. Whoa, where'd you go? There. Oh, it got, anyways, where'd it go? Okay, there it goes. It's like a brownish orange, just like the beer. And this fragrance says it's a crisp fall ale with a squeeze of orange and touches of vanilla with golden hops. It has like 1.3% vanillin in it, which means it will probably turn the soap a little bit. I do have a couple colors ready in case the actual beer doesn't change the color of my soap and I want to change it. I'm going to use a little bit of passion orange mica and a little bit of dark chocolate mica to try to get that color, depending on how it looks once I add it to my soap. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to pop some of these out, and I know I need 16 ounces. I usually do a bigger discount, but I'm just going to go with this for now. So I'm just going to add these. These take up a lot of room in here. I hope this container is big enough. Alright, this is half beer now, so I'm going to add the rest is distilled water. Up to 16 ounces. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, get my scale out of the way. So it ended up taking me probably 5 days when I kept coming over and just using the stick blender to get the carbonation out. I don't know if it was just this type of beer or what the deal was, but Make sure you have no carbonation in your beer. So I'm just going to add this a small amount at a time and stir it. And the lye will dissolve the beer ice. And then you have your lye solution ready to add to your soap. So you can see, hopefully you can see, they're starting to melt. The reason that I freeze the beer is so that if I just left it regular in there, which you can do, I just wanted to keep this a little bit cooler. I didn't want it to be so hot. But you can certainly just, you know, add your beer. All right, folks, we're going for it. Because most of the ice is already melted, so. Okay, so I'm just going to continue to stir this for a minute, and then we'll go ahead and add it to our oils and butters and see what color we get, and then go from there. I'm just going to do mostly this color soap, and I might color a tiny bit white just to kind of put on the top to kind of resemble like the head of the beer. This is such a beautiful color, and it's almost the color of exactly of the fragrance, or the picture of the fragrance. But all right, I think we're ready to go. Move this out of the way. Okay. All right. I've already mixed up my oils and butters. I have kale and clay in there, and I'm just going to add my beer lye water solution here and give it a quick stick blend and see what color it looks like. Well, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful color. I want it a little darker. I'm going to pour a little bit off for the top. Oops, I forgot to add the cream. There's some titanium dioxide. And I'm going to, I think I'm going to add a little bit of brown to this. I don't want to do a lot because if you do too much, there's no going back. See if I can get this a little bit whiter. Okay, so the time has come to cut this mess. Look at all of the holes from it just thickening. It just seized, and that's the best I could do to get it in the mold. Now, you can smell the fragrance a little bit. I'm going to take the end off. Not that that's going to make much of a difference because it's, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be perfectly fine to use, but I'm not, I just don't think I can sell it. I'll wait and see how it cures, but no, look at it. It's so like lumpy and bumpy, and you can see like a little bit of orange tint in there. I don't know if that's the beer or how the lye mixed with the beer. Not sure what that is, but I won't cut the whole loaf. I won't put you guys through that because they're not going to get any prettier. I mean, there's a couple little pockets. I mean, there's nothing. I don't know. There's a little bit looks like oozing out down here. It looks like maybe a little bit of the fragrance is like weeping, which usually gets reabsorbed. I believe that if I had not added that darn fragrance, that Harvest Ale, and just poured it in, just using the beer, it would have turned out great. Also, last year I used a beer scent from Be Scented, and it worked perfectly. I should have gone back, ordered more and did that one again. The reason I did this kind was because, yeah, you can see it weeping a little bit, oozing. I'll wait and see what it does, but yeah, I am not going to be selling these for sure. But I was going to order more of that pumpkin, or that, why did I say pumpkin? Okay, of that beer scent, and I thought I'll use this because there was a local lady not far from me that made soap and bath bombs and stuff like that. She had a shop, and she called me when she was going out of business, and I went over and I bought a few things from her, and the Harvest Ale was a full bottle, and I bought that because I smelled it, and it's like had a little bit of like a nice orange to it. It didn't smell just like beer, so I thought I'd try it. And then I read the reviews, and the reviews, it said it had moderate acceleration, moderate or mild ricing. Yeah, this was, and yes, it could have reacted with the beer that made it seize like that. However, a lot of people have on my Facebook have said that they've tried it and they've had the same issues. So yes, it's a soap fail, but at least you guys know that that fragrance does that. It would probably work great if you're doing hot process.